proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, Season 3, Episode 39. And we're going to talk rallying once again, Connor, and another busy show this week. Before we start, I suppose, can you like, share, subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating? There have been a few of those over the last few weeks, and they've been gratefully appreciated. Thank you very much. And this week we're going to catch up with the Lakeland Stages News. We speak to Paddy O'Brien and Derek Mackarel, and then we also speak to Denver Rafferty as well. And then from the Acropolis Rally, then you get a chance to catch up with Jimmy McMillan and Luke Barry. And then finally, Aoife Raftery joins us then to tell us about her exciting week ahead then too. But Lakeland Stages, Enniskillen Motor Club, top class event at the weekend, Connor. I don't know who they know up above, but the Willer gods never played fair, you know. What a brilliant event it was.
Look, fantastic event, and to see a 26 kilometers forestry stage in Ireland, like, just incredible, you know. And it really was a heck of a stage.
Yeah, because like if anybody hasn't seen it, like watch the end car of Shane McGurr and Denver. You know, it is unbelievable. Like the amount of, you know, third, fourth, fifth, sixth gear stuff, and you know, and spending a long time in fifth and sixth gear too. It's a cracking watch. It really is, you know. But you know, what an event. You know, you said there, like the 16 mile, 26 kilometer stage, cracking stage. You know, it really was. And that's not taking nothing away from the first two stages as well too. They were really good stages. They were short, but there was a lot of driving in them too, which is, you know, brilliant. You know, everybody you spoke to just said how good the event was. Like every stage ran, every car got running through them. You know, that's real testament to the club. They put a lot of effort into it, and it's great to see it being paid off then.
Yeah, look, a fantastically run event, as you say. Great feedback from the competitors and the spectators, and on top of that, what a battle! Like, you know, when you look how close that leaderboard was all day.
Yeah, going into the last stage, like, you know, Paddy O'Brien had like nipped into 0.7 of a second lead over Catherine McCourt. And unfortunately, you know, Catherine got a puncture and pulled in then. And then, you know, like Paddy had to drive the stage. He didn't know that, you know, that there was trouble behind. He had to go as hard as he could possibly go in that last stage. Yeah. And then Eamon Kelly in the Rally 3 Fiesta, second overall. Like, you know, we have talked about how good these Rally 3 cars are, but even I didn't see that coming.
No, definitely not. Like, you know, we're used to seeing the R3 being campaigned. You know, John Armstrong last year in the ERC, Eamon in the junior WRC last couple of years. But, you know, to see it at home under, you know, such you know, seasoned hands as Eamon's, and what a result! Like, you know, as you say, coming in at the last second almost.
Yeah, nipping second on the last stage. Yes, Derek Mackarel was driving with the championship in mind, but still a fantastic time there by Eamon and Connor as well too. It just shows you, you know, the class act that those two guys are, you know. And then the two-wheel drive battle, Paddy McToll was phenomenal over the first three stages. Then I think it was a fuel leak put him out, but then, you know, the ladder took another one. Woo! But like, you know, there was again 3 or 4 guys there that was all chipping thereabouts there, and you know, we know the bushwhackers coming up in 2 weeks, and they always say the Lakeland's the warm up. So I don't know what the place is going to be like come bushwhacker time, but yeah, top class job by Enniskillen Motor Club. But no point in us telling you all about it. Let's hear from Paddy O'Brien, Derek Mackarel, and then that will roll into Denver Rafferty. Lakeland Stages at the weekend. Patrick, you come all the way back from Australia, and after nearly like a year out of the seat, didn't take you long to get acclimatised back again.
Yeah, not too bad. First stage was a wee bit nervous and braking too much and fanning about, and got at the end of it by Stephen, what the hell are you doing? But yeah, no, we got on to it pretty quick then, not too bad.
Yeah, and like, you know, what a challenge that Enniskillen Motor Club put on for you guys. like, the stages 1 and 2 were quite short, like, around about 2 mile, or just one just below and one just over 2 mile. But then get into a 16 mile stage, like that must just be an awesome feeling to be sitting at the start line or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Even the first two stages, they were short, but there was quite a lot of driving in it. Like you weren't just getting through them and getting to the big one. Like it was a lot of work on them. And then, yeah, like you said, going into the 16 miler, like that's what you want. That's where you can gain the time, and that's where you can lose the time as well, unfortunately. But no, it was good for us. The first time word wasn't so good right enough. We damaged the foot pedal. So the foot pedals were sliding about in there, so it was a wee bit awkward to drive. But no, unbelievable stages, and I credit the motor club for what they done, and all the marshals stand out in that heat too. Like, they give out about the rain, but stand out that heat wouldn't have been nice either.
I think, Derek, dust's not normally a problem we have to deal with, but that was some serious dust about on Saturday as well.
There's a lot of dust about, like, and first time I ever seen going to a long stage and running in 2 minutes, like in the evening there, just because the dust just didn't move. There was no air about, so there wasn't. So no, it was tricky, like tricky event, tricky long stage.
Aye, and but as Patrick was saying there too, even those two, two stages to start, there was everything was in them. They were fast, they were flowing, but there was also a lot of technical stuff in them. Like for short stages, there was a lot of motoring in them as well.
Yeah, it was tight going in them, like, and that first stage was so it was very tricky, like it was very, very slippy, and I know it was very hard to get it in and going on it, because so it was. And then when you get into Big Dog and get out through all them jumps and stuff, that's just class. That's some stage.
Yeah, if it comes out from in below the trees and then starts to open out, like come along that straight bit of road, like that must be some sensation come down along that.
That's just that's just class. So it just, you cannot describe what that is. Like, it's just like Finland job. Like, it's just grass jump, go. Like, it's unreal.
I can think, Paddy, that like, and that, like, just are so fortunate to be in one of the top line cars, to be going over them stages, like that. That's why you rally.
Exactly. Like, I didn't really miss it that much when I was away, but once I got a spin on it, the first go, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is unreal. Yeah. And the first stage was good, and obviously what Derek said there, the second stage, once you start hitting jumps in fifth gear and you hear the limiter, it's just, this is unreal. Like, yeah, it was good to be back.
You put up with the rain just to go back and do that every now and again.
Without a doubt, yeah, no problem.
But like, as you mentioned earlier too, what effort the club put into for that rally there on Saturday, it was huge. Like, the stages are so well laid out. Just come off one stage into the next. Short road sections between the stages. Ideal just for everything you guys need. Nothing's going cold. You're not sitting about at the start of stages. It was just roll on, roll off almost.
Yeah, exactly. Even on the controls, like, people were so friendly, and everyone was 100%, like, and down until the service area, like, geez, you wouldn't get a better service area if you tried, and all the crowds out watching, and I think it was just a really, really good day, and fantastic run event, and definitely a massive credit to the club. They've done a really good job.
That's for sure. And Derek, I'm sure you'd like to echo them sentiments as well.
Oh yeah, like the club done pulled off a masterclass there. Like it takes some effort to set up and run a 16-mile stage and get it run on both times with no issues. Like, and you have to hand it to them. They've done the groundwork, they've done the homework, and had it done perfect. Like, it's definitely one of a good rally, like, so it is. And even the wee, like, for the wee stages, to get them up and going, and everything was on the button on the time, like, and it was class. Like, what
Yeah.
we wanted as drivers, like, and the left event ran perfectly on time, like, so it did.
Yeah, and I spoke to a couple of other competitors, and they were saying like everybody got every stage. Like even the big stage, everybody got the two runs at it as well, and like that speaks volumes for the organisation of the club as well.
That speaks massive volume. So, because there's many a time there, like, you go a long stage, like, and next thing, all of a sudden, it was cancelled, something happened, and it was pulled, like, and that if that stage had a wing gone for them competitors, they've lost a lot of mileage, like, so they have. So, no, fair play to the club. They pulled off a masterclass there now.
And like for you, like the whole idea of the weekend was championship points. Yes, it'd be very easy to get dragged into a fight and try and look at the overall position, but you had to, the points mean prizes.
Yeah, points mean prizes, like, and the first stage just didn't go well for us. I think the boot lid was open, and there's a couple of things just wasn't going right, and we settled ourselves and got into the second stage and had a better run through it, and we we weren't a million mile away. We're happy, we're comfortable, but then we went into the long stage. The start of it went grand, but then towards the end started to lose brake pedal and stuff. I says, right, we need to get to the finish of this stage, regardless of what anything happens. We need to make sure we get to the end of it. If three cars catch us, doesn't matter. We need to get to the finish of it. So it is, because we knew that it was the championship was where this is going to be lost. Like, really, if we didn't get to the finish. So no, look, once we got to there and into midday, we were a bit happier then. So
Yeah, and the guy bottom tempo's not somewhere you want a soft brake pedal.
no, not at all. I've went into Bally Tempo. I went into Bally Tempo twice and I haven't come out of it. So I haven't. So in the Nova and in the Fiesta. So I was damn glad to come out of it twice this time.
Yeah, I like Paddy. They are like real driver stages. They are really rewarding. Like if you are prepared to stick the neck out, there is a bit of time there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like the last time over, I think when we went into it, was myself and Gahan was only point. I don't know, I think it was point 0.3 or point 0.4 of a second into the last stage. So it was just on a mission to get to the end of it. So once we did get to the end of it, the feeling was mad. Like this is just crazy. Like the speeds you can carry and how fast the stage is and the flow and the jumps is just it's very, very rewarding when you get to the end of it. But it's getting to the end of it to be.
Because like you just didn't know the Paddy's puncher or nothing. Like you just had to just attack it as if he was coming right on your heels.
Yeah, exactly. The boys were saying that at the end of the stage. Like they knew that the Gahan had stopped, unfortunately, but myself and Stephen didn't, so we were still on a mission and had no wild call to be doing it, to be honest.
Uh,
But yeah, thankfully we got the end of it.
yeah, and the Cahan give you a great race. Big Niall McGonigal was giving you a tight race as well. You know there is so many other guys now just coming through. Like there is no easy drive anymore now. It is right from the very first stage right through. It's every corner has to be perfect. Every gear change almost has to be perfect. Whenever it's without ever point something of a second going into the last stage.
Ah, exactly. Like this, God knows who's going to come out fastest on them first loop of stages. Like it's difficult to try to stay with them because you're giving away everything, breaking points, lanes, everything. So yeah, once you get it into the second loop, then you can have a go. And as even Jan said this when we're heading into the second loop, this is where the rally starts now. So it's good. It's good fun and everybody's good friends too. So it's a good laugh as well.
And I can imagine like there is a lot of banter between the stages as well too.
Outside of it, like that's nearly as good as doing the driving, like just the best flag and that's good fun.
Derek, nearly as good.
It is good crack. So it is good crack watching these boys in front, like in the with the bigger stickers and stuff, just going at it, like and it's class to sit back and watch and even see where they're going. Like you're all the time learning of what way you can go, like
Because they were talking in Caradigan last week about the cuts and one thing and another. We were on Big Dog, and even walking back to the car, you could see even for the cuts now is in the forest, like corners been straight lined. Like that takes huge balls and like somewhere like a forest, you just do not know what's in that ditch at all. Places.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of that is just down to year upon year upon year. We'll go another wee bit, and we'll go another wee bit, and we'll go another wee bit. I think that's it's the likes of when you come to 5 Mile Town and places like that. We just all know it in the back brand where we're going, like so it is. And look at Lakelands and Bushwhackers, all the exact same. Like it's just everyone's being braver and braver and braver every year. Like so it is. And the speed's just going up and up and up.
I like Paddy. It is. You have to have your big boy pants on right from the start.
Oh, exactly. Like as I was saying, the first stage when I got the end of it, I was like, "Geez, I'm going to get cleaned in here," and you could just see leading the time, but it wasn't so actually bad when we got the end of it. But you would know that you're not going to be fastest. Like there's someone going to beat you in there. So no, you definitely have to start sharp.
Yeah, and like, you said you come off the end of the last stage, and you think that was just amazing. That was Did you think that was there any chance that Cavan would take the 0.7 or whatever it was off you, or did you feel that was as good as you could go?
To be honest, there was one point where there's actually a video of it out over a jump and I nearly overshoot and I got around the handbrake, and that was probably the only part of the stage with any ball. The rest of it was maximum attack. Like I couldn't do any more. So if he did come out and was quickest, all good, all the best to him. Like he was on it, but Lockett, that's the way it went. He got a puncture. I don't know if he picked up a puncture or what happened. I wasn't speaking to him, but it's unfortunate. And you always want to race right to the finish. And when I heard that they would stop, no one told me it was a puncture, and I knew the speed that I just went through the stage, and I thought, geez, if that man's went off, that's a big one. So thankfully, it was just a puncture, and the boys were safe.
Yeah, I could like the speeds is so high now. Like if you like, there was a lot of very sore cars there on Saturday evening.
Yeah, I think in one place we were in the limiter for nearly, I think it was like 18 or 19 seconds on the limiter in fifth. Like so, like that speed's just crazy. Like showing an engine, that's what it is.
Sore engine, but good fun too, Derek.
Yeah, that's class. So it is like there's not too many forests in the country that you have that sort of length of straights and stuff in, like and it's not straight when you look at it. Like it's
No,
all there's corners and jumps and all the rest of it in it. So no, I
yeah.
tell you, there's not too many places like Ballytempo.
No, because like, there's the car of Shane Mackarel and Denver Rafferty. I don't know if you've watched that. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nuts.
no, that's nuts. The balls there, the them boys, and like bouncing off the limiter in sixth in places too. Like that is trucking, isn't it?
That's tight tipping on, so it is in a lad, I can tell you. That's
fucking
just
madness.
class.
That is.
It's just fair play to them, like that's class.
And like Derek, this is your what second year now in the Fiesta. Is it even still like, almost hard to comprehend the way that it can handle the corners, the way that it handles the bump, or is it almost becoming sort of second nature now at this stage?
Yeah, starting to come now where we need to be we're comfortable, it's just come comfortable now at the minute. Like you kind of can predict then what way it's all going to go. Like so, but it was a big learning curve. Like it was a big shock to what I was more used to. So it was, but now we're in a happier spot now with it, and we're able to attack so ours from the get go, like and be where we need to be.
Yeah, I could like Paddy. Yusuf went down the Scudo route, and like there's not too many others that went down the Scudo route, and Yusuf definitely shown that the car is more than capable, and like it's really surprising that more people hasn't gone for the Scudo. Even you see what Eddie Doherty done on the Tar, what you've done on the Tar in Galway 2 years ago, coming up now. Like they are a very capable car.
I would say it out. Like, and it's probably my car's probably 6 or 7 years old now against the likes of the new Fiestas, and if you're still without a maximum, me and Ryan, like, I don't understand why more people don't go this good route because even like to get the parts and stuff, it's so handy to get the parts. Like it's there within 2 days, and they have everything on the shelf. Like so, now they're fantastic car and great people to work with too.
And like the new Rally 2 ones, like they look just phenomenal altogether.
Ah, yeah, Stephen done some work I think with Callum, or was helping along with Callum, and he was just saying like the car's so good and like everything's so user friendly and it's just everything's thought of. So yeah, they're a fantastic build. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I suppose we have to talk about coming up in well less than 2 weeks now, the Bushwhacker. Like this is the holy grail, the Donegal for us gravel men. Like what makes the Bushwhacker so special, Paddy? You're going for four in a row this year.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what makes it so good. I think it's just the roads, like the roads in Drumquin and whatnot. Like they're good. Like if you go to Lochbraden and out over the big crests and stuff, and just the flow and the nature of the stages, they're fantastic. And I don't know why, but it just seems to get a serious hype like about it. It's everybody's just on the sort of seems to be in the door handle from the start line. Like so, that usually gets a good buzz going too.
And like Derek, you've been around rallying all your life, and like the Bushwhacker has become the mecca, the golden horde for us gravel boys.
Oh, it is like I've from no height, like I always went and watched the Bushwhacker, like we would go and watch it and go and watch it, and we were standing like Braddon and all the rest of the places and in the Carrick-Golden, different places, like, and it has always had that hype. The Bushwhacker's the one that is the biggest hype, like, and yes, class to be in that. It's even class for me, like to be in that sort of race and to think that I can actually be there, to be very close, to be chasing for podiums and stuff. Like it's just I never thought that'd happen. Like
Yeah, like can you imagine that whenever you that wee fella stand in the ditch, is there like a pinch yourself moment then again that you have to go, how did that happen?
yeah, that is happening. Like so it is because I never thought it'd happen like way back when when I started from tipping about in a Hadoui again him. That's where it ended up now, like, you
Fortunately,
know,
me.
12 on the courses, some crack. Now look what we're standing doing, you know.
But even just going a bit off left field here. But you see that these junior 1000, the guys and girls now, like by the time they're 18, they're going to have 4 years,
Exactly.
of driving on gravel. What are they going to be like in a few years' time?
Exactly. Like, just time's only going to tell what they're going to do. Like, so it's plain to be seen what's going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
so oh, it'd be nice to see. So it'd be nice to see what way it all pans out.
That's for sure. I could like Paddy, as Derek said there, you just done the money glasses, just done, the ahi doos and one thing and another. But like to get onto gravel at that age, like it must be just, it must be an unbelievable experience for those guys and girls.
Yeah, exactly. And even doing the same rallies as the big guys, you're not stuck around a track. It would be unbelievable. Like, and a dream come true at that age to be.
Hmm.
You're driving up behind Skoda Fabias and Ford Fiestas, and you're doing the same event and doing the same stages. Like, it's massive learning, and not alone that, once they're in their Skodas or Fiestas or whatever they're driving, they have knowledge of the stages, and yeah, they're going to be hard work.
That's for sure. And like we spoke to Derek about growing up around rallying. Like the bushwhacker is in your blood at this stage. Your dad won it. And like it's your home event. Like I suppose at this stage, like yes, you're looking forward to it, but is there a lot of nerves then coming up to the event as well?
Not really, to be honest. I'm not that kind of person who gets too revved up about it or gets nervous about it. It is what it is. It's not it's not do or day, but when I put the helmet on, it's probably do or die. Then it's sort of flat out. But no, not really. I don't get too nervous about it, to be honest. It's just go and enjoy it and have fun.
And like Derek, I suppose that again, it'll have to be the bushwhacker. It'll have to be points mean prizes. It's not not balls out from the get go.
Yeah, points being prizes definitely for the bushwhacker. We'll be we'll be just seeing what we have to do and doing what we have to do to get the across the line, and hopefully I think if all goes to plan, I think I can wrap up the driver's title. I think Eamon will have to go to Clare, so we'll have to go to the Clare first at the end of the year for Eamon to get the Navigators Championship. So but when you get the finish line of the bushwhacker is the real key straight away, so it is. So
And like we have to mention Claire there now when you mention it. Like, first time in almost 40 years, like go
oh,
back to,
years.
so nobody's going to have any knowledge of of those
No,
stages, like
that's
that's a
yeah.
whole new challenge.
That's a big challenge, like, and it'll be very interesting to see what way that rally will work out. Like, it'll with the hype of them and that it looks to be going to be a good rally, like, and it looks to be there's some good stages to say they have. So it will be very interesting to see, and again, everyone's on equal turf down there. Then so there'll be no one knows what cut they can take there, like, so it'll be interesting to do, like.
And like, you two guys are both in the kind of that same family-run team. You just are out working the cars at night and all, and you just know every nut and bolt in that car. Like, Paddy alluded to earlier. You know what's happening. Is there certain parts of you, when you're going over like hard bumps and things like that? Is there like, oh God, is that shaking something loose or anything like that there?
Nope. Once you get back to service, we'll sort out the stuff. No, it does not in my head at all.
No, worry about that on Monday.
Yeah, that's Monday's problem. It's hard to go now.
Derek, your thoughts on that one?
Oh, I'd be the opposite. I'd be in underneath it, so it as quick as it could. No, there's oh, it doesn't be simple now, so it doesn't.
No, but like I suppose I suppose that is a good if there is an issue between the stages. At least you're able to know what to do with it as well.
Well, yeah, it's either I know what to do with it or it'll not be done. I think that's kind of that, and that just give me a hand. But a lot of the times, be standing back going, what way does that come apart, or what way does that go back together? But look, we're learning all the time, and getting the car to do what we wanted to do, and we've kind of mastered it this year. We've come a lot to have from last year, so
Sure.
happy enough now with it. I mean.
Yeah, because like Paddy, these cars are not simple, are they? Like these are like proper works cars. Yes, there's certain components, but a lot of the stuff it's not the kind of stuff you can mess about with.
Exactly. It has to be run to a very high standard, like, and you need proper tools to work with the cars as well. Like, and we're very fortunate that we have quite a good team here around us as well, and what Dad does too. Like, it's fantastic, and yeah, we seem to have the scores going rightly now too. Like with myself and Ryan, and yeah, they have to be run right.
Denver, a big weekend, Lada once again. That Lakeland Stages was something else this year.
It was unreal, Kevin. Big Dog, even Conor, that long tempo stage, it was someone else. To be fair, you looked at it in the DVD and it looked mental fast and it lived up to its reputation. It was class. It had everything. You had 6th gear stuff, you had bumpy stuff, you had tight, you had everything. It was class. Like, to be fair, it probably would be the pick of the best stages in the country. And to be fair, I wouldn't really, not say I wouldn't know the Lakeland stages at all, but now I know what Mount Tempo is, and next year roll on.
That's for sure. And yes, probably the weather helped an awful lot. But as you say, the club picked fantastic stages. Like, even with 80 plus cars run over them twice, the stages weren't cutting up or nothing really. They held together really well.
They were perfect. Yeah, they were perfect. There was maybe a few places there you have an odd stone, big stone and stuff pulled out, but no, it was unreal. To be fair with the weather and stuff like that, the dust was bad in places, but overall, like, you take the dust over the rain and the wet, slippy stuff any day.
Mm-hmm.
No, the weather made it now as well, so it did.
Yeah, and the two first stages, yeah, they're only like 2 point whatever mile long, but there was still a wee bit of driving in them. They weren't simple stages by no manner of means.
No, that's right. I think it was 2 mile. First stage was 1.8 mile, I think, and there was 4 pages of notes. And the other stage was 2 mile, there's 5 pages to it. So, normally you can average a page of notes to a mile, and that's 2 pages to a mile.
Yes.
So there was plenty of reading, there was plenty of the first stages now, that first Conor stage now, it was a tricky wee skipper. And the second one, whenever it opened up onto the big long straight where we had in Hillington at the moment on it, that's just whenever you come in the Big Dog, it was class. So it was, and then that, you could wind up going on that. It was then you just started in the long tempo and you were just in that same mission again. So you were.
Yeah, and whenever you're sitting in the start line of a 16-mile stage, is there any difference in the attitude, or do you if anybody hasn't watched the NCAR, you see Shane slapping the helmet and all trying to get himself in the zone. Is there that? Is there even a pace in yourself, or is it just balls out from the first corner?
It's balls out from the first corner, but you look at the 20 pages of notes and you're like, Jesus, this is going to take a while. And next thing, we actually, Big Log stage weren't halfway point. It felt no time you're halfway. And then it was, next thing you're at the finish line, like, it just flew in.
Mm-hmm.
When you went through the DVD and all that there, and X, Y, and Z, it got slow and, slow pace. But whenever you're actually in the car, like, it just flies in.
Yeah. If anybody hasn't watched the NCAR, I advise go and watch it, because it's such class. Like, the two of you are working just so well together, and like, there's so much of it's 3rd, 4th, 5th gear, 6th gear as well too. Like, it is crazy fast, but as you say, there's a lot of technical stuff in it as well.
Yeah, there was a lot of technical stuff in it. Like, to be fair, I think our biggest problem was the dust in the car. Like, we were coming down like big long straights, flat out. And you would get a break for hairpins, but so whenever you were kind of coming into the hairpin sideways, the dust, you could see nothing but the dust. And sure, the car was filled with dust. I could see nothing, he could see nothing. We were joking, we were coughing and spluttering. Next thing, the page of notes, it was all dust. It was good crack. Yes, it was good crack. Definitely very good.
Yeah, and and we have to keep saying it about the club, like the service area and the whole rally just run the clockwork as well too, didn't it?
It did, unreal. And to be fair, like, for the 16-mile stage, there was, I don't actually think it was actually stopped for anybody. I don't think.
No.
I think it ran, everybody got a go at it, and even both times.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, there's some work on a 16-mile stage for the club to run that,
Yes.
with services and recoveries and stuff like that. Like, and, the last stage, I think it might have maybe ran, could have 10 minutes late over the whole day, like, and it was bang on. It was on time, like.
Mm-hmm.
It was top class.
And that's what you just want, just of all, like, you're rocking up there Saturday morning, you want to get away Saturday evening, you don't want to be hanging about, and like, even, they got you back to the 3-way in to spread the champagne, there was no hanging about, there was no dramas, there was no nonsense, just, you're here to do your thing and get it done.
Yeah, definitely. Oh no, definitely, it was class, running the clockwork, like, and even the service area, everything, like it was great. And even a wee quick blast out to the first stage, you're out of one, straight into the other. It was probably, was there maybe 2 mile, maybe not even, mile and a half between each stage. Like you come out of Ballon Tempo and it was straight on the road in the skin. Like it was a real good compact route and mileage and all. No, it was very, 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 very good event.
Yeah, and like the competition you guys had there on the Saturday, unreal. Like yes, the overall is mad, but the two-wheel drive, again, let's pick a winner out of it. There's 4 or 5 guys there in every rally nearly at this stage.
That's for sure. Like to be fair, she didn't tell you in there we had no answer to Paddy and Connor there. And to be fair, like whenever Paddy and Connor gets a bit of luck under the belt, they're going to be the men to beat. Even there, like even with QE there as well, and Mickey and Sam, and like even Craig Rahal that we Rally 4 car, it was unreal. I think on the first run over the 16 miler, he was 10.7 slower than Paddy McDowell. So it was quick. I got some going. We were 7.7 slower than Paddy. So that left Craig was only 3.3 behind us. Like that's some going on the Rally 4.
It is. And those guys, like, for all the length of time they've been on the gravel, they're only going to get faster and faster.
That's right. Oh, that's definitely right. No, they're flying. They are absolutely flying. So they are.
And I suppose we can't ignore the elephant in the room. The big one's coming up now, the Bushwhacker, in less than 2 weeks' time, and that pace is going to go up another level, and there's going to be even more competition out then probably.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the Bushwhacker now. It's the Omo Grand Prix, as it's known as. It's going to be fast as well. And to be fair, I'll say that one of the locals, there'll be Paddy will be there, and you'll have QA, you'll have Mickey, you'll have the normal championship, Sam Stewart, maybe Aidan Hetherington, David Crossan. It should be good racing now. It always was good racing. It was always good racing, and now it'll just be as fast now as the Lakelands.
Yeah, that's for sure, and hopefully the weather's as good as we go.
Oh, for sure. Hopefully we're choking with dust.
And now, this weekend coming up, there's going to be a change of pace for you guys now. Highlands is on tour once again.
That's right. This weekend now. Mightn't just be as quick this weekend as we were last weekend, but no, it should be a good crack. 32 counties. We're going to try and do it in 3 days, hopefully with no hangings. And it should be good. We're doing it for an Eve Louise Foundation. It's a mental health charity for suicide prevention, and to be fair, I don't think there's really anybody that's mental health and that has affected. So no, it should be very good. And Shane's doing it there in Baskin, and there's a few other lads as well there that's going to tag along with us. So it should be good with some weekend crack.
Aye, and it's not even just not even driving around in a car or anything sensible. No, that would be far too sensible.
Far too sensible. And I think the funny thing about it was I have never been on a bike on the road before in my life until last Friday. I had to do the bike test. Actually, well, I lie, at wee Honda 90 and her up the road, and she broke a chain at about 50 mile an hour and fired me off into the hedge, and that was really my first experience. But to be actually on the road meeting traffic and passing traffic was actually last Friday. And the bike is still, there's a guy beside Shane there, Damien Smith, and he's rebuilding it there at the minute. And this side, to be fair, he hit up and down the road a few times, and I'm not even going to lift the bike to Thursday, so I'm not even going to be out on it. Just get on it on Friday morning and go. Shane, he's doing it on the trike, and Baskin's doing it on I think it's a 250 Honda or something like that. So no, it should be good crack. It'll be plenty of Hollands as long as nobody fall off.
It's not the first time you've been in the hedge now, let's be honest.
Well, that's right. That's right. Oh, I probably will before. I probably not get out to the gate to blend the pound of shade. So
yeah. And you said this is for charity, for mental health, and this is the great thing about rallying. We know people like the bit of fun, they like the bit of crack, and there's always somebody to talk to, and that's the important thing, and that has to go right across the board.
That's right. No, that's for sure. Everybody, as I say, everybody, sometime in their life will probably experience mental health, and to be fair, the likes of Eve Louise there, it's great to have charities like that people can go to and talk to, and in this local area itself here, there's been a lot of families there that it's helped, and to be fair, it's a great charity.
Yeah,
it's a very, very good charity.
And again, the rally family will pull together. Like, if you have a problem in Cork, there's somebody you can call. If there's somebody, if you have a problem in Wexford or Donegal, you're never more than probably 15 minutes away from somebody.
That's right. To be fair, we're just laughing and joking, but they're like, if we don't, nothing happens, just, not many breakdowns like on the Friday. It'd be nice to get a stage in Wexford on the Sunday or on the Saturday, but that's what they call ask. No, that's kind of we're laughing and joking at. But every corner of Ireland, you somebody about that's into rallying or something like that, And to be fair, I think kind of nearly the end of the game is to take as little spares with us as we possibly can, and if we do break, we have to fix it the roadside and try and keep going.
Yeah, and that must be the spirit of adventure. That's that is just something to get away and forget it all and just go and have fun.
That's right. Yeah, hey, that's all it'll be. It will be fun. To be fair, the last one I done the Missing the Man a new tractor, it run like clockwork. I could have told you nearly to the minute what time I would be at a certain point. This one here, the route's not even sorted out yet. It's just going to be wing it. So it is. I had a bit of the route planned out, and all was going great. Then I realised I forgot 2 counties, so then back to the drawing board again. So I just throw that to the side. We'll just make it up as we go along. And to be fair, accommodation and stuff like that, we don't even know where we're going to be. We're just going to, whenever we're going down the road and it gets nearly dark, we'll just book somewhere that we're nearly by and pull in. So we are. So we're going to take Shane's rally van and the shuttle as well. And at night, put the bikes into the shuttle. And to be fair, to a certain extent, it is well thought out. But we're about probably 60% of the way, but the 40% there's no clue. Just wing it.
Yeah, and that 40%, there probably is no point in making the plan because you don't know. Things could go really well and there'll be no issues, but you have to kind of build in a bit of time that you can even have a stop for a cup of tea or whatever along the way.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Look, hey, to be fair, the last run there, it was kind of it was a rat race. It was just keep going. And to be fair, I was actually nearly dozing off to sleep. And to be fair, the lads in the van kind of copped it on, and they got me stopped. And they let on that there was actually a problem with the tractor, that they seen something they didn't like. But it's just due to the simple fact is they knew that I wasn't for stopping, and it was the only way they could be stopped. And then they got coffee and got tea, and 15-20 minutes and back on again and go again. And to be fair, whenever you do look back at it, it was probably the right thing they did do.
Yes.
I just wanted to keep going. And to be fair, with the radios in the van, and I had an earpiece in the ear, and we sort of talk back to the lads the whole time, they had at the time this never dawned on me, but now whenever I do look back at it, it's the right thing they done.
For sure. And not only the three of you on the bike, there's going to be other people involved. You're going to have a chase crew as such. And
there is, there's definitely there's a chase crew there, so there is coming as well. There's going to be a few of the lads there as well, and lassies as well, and they're working on the Friday, and they'll come down and meet us on the Friday evening, and then, if there's a car goes down the road, if the people there wants to go home, they can come home, and, same on Saturday and Sunday. So, no, look, it's, to be fair, we were, where everybody was planning on going, and X, Y, Z, and the full load down, and, everybody going together, but I think if it's staggered a wee bit, at least if the team on the Friday are bored or, would have to go home, at least there's a vehicle there for them to go home in. So no, look, it should be good now. It should be good. Hopefully the weather stays good for us.
That's for sure. And obviously there'll be buckets there if anybody wants to seize us along the way, please.
There'll be buckets, and actually Jolene was actually saying to me earlier on there that it's actually Jolene's done more of this than I really have. I just kind of just rock up, and she's actually at the minute there trying to sort a tracker system there for the van, so that can be live on the Facebook page, and everybody, we know exactly where we are at all times. And we'll have buckets on the run there, and then the Just Giving page there, it's active there the whole time on the Facebook page as well. So
Hallion's on tour for all the information is.
Hallion's on tour, everything's on it, so it is. So we prefer ourselves there, we're sharing it right bit there. So there's a lot of information on it, and our sponsors as well. There's a lot of sponsors on board there as well, and only for them as well. It wouldn't be possible to even do it.
Yeah, and the other thing too, if people see you, that you're coming into Wexford or you're coming into Cork or something, and they want to come out and they have a bike themselves, come on out and join in.
Tag on, surely, come out, throw stones, throw whatever you want.
Throw money.
No, don't throw a screwdriver into the spokes of the bike. No, look, hey, look, it's a well plus. It's to be fair, it's a good charity, like, and to be fair, they were hoping for everybody there. If we're coming close to a town, Donegal or wherever we are, if there's people who wants to meet us, they can tag along with Shirley up the road for a couple of miles. The more the merrier. The more the merrier, surely.
Yeah, well, Denver, the very best of luck to you this weekend, and looking forward to keeping track of the progress.
Thank you, Kevin.
So thanks very much, to Paddy and Derek, but especially to Denver, taking the time out. It's a busy, busy week ahead, and I'm sure the last thing you needed to do was talk to us. But if you still see those guys out there on their bikes this week, give them a toot, give them a wave. More importantly, give them a few quid. Like, mental health charities are so important. We all benefit from the work that they do. The Neve Louise Foundation. So please, if you see them anywhere about, give them a few quid. Go onto the Facebook page, Highlands on Tour. There's a live tracker show you where they're going to be. It's all there. It's easy enough to find it all. But anyway, Connor, Acropolis Rally at the weekend. My goodness, it was drama filled.
It certainly was, from start to finish. Like, it was action packed. From the very first stage right through to the very last stage, the power stage, you didn't know what was going to happen, and the unpredictable was happening, right throughout the event.
Yeah, because there was controversy, there was drama, there was intrigue, it just had it all, really, hadn't it?
It did, with the old-fashioned mind games. We had, stewards. We had outspoken drivers. We had, mechanical difficulties, loads of hybrid issues, punctures, rolls galore. Like, it was just everything.
Yeah. And through it all, Hyundai got a 1, 2, 3. Like, I would say the odds not at the start of the event would have been astronomical.
But exactly, that's it. Like, Toyota last year took first and second place. Probably we wouldn't have seen Greece being, a strong event for Hyundai. And, when you had a lot of competitors saying this was actually rougher than the Safari Rally, you kind of were going to wonder, this is going to take its toll on reliability. Mm-hmm. And yet Hyundai, Danny Sordo back after, I don't know how many months out of the car, 6 at least. And fantastic result for him. Tanak pulled it around after a disaster on the Saturday morning with punctures, double puncture on the first stage of the morning. And then Thierry Neuville, cool as a cucumber. Normally not as reliable under pressure, but certainly held it all together for this.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a different Thierry this year. He's more relaxed, more, I don't know. It just seems to be in a better place.
Yeah, he does. He's definitely got his head around things and is staying very cool, calm, collected, and definitely coping with the pressure. You could have wondered coming into this event, is it his championship to lose? And I would say it probably is. And yet, it was Toyota's. Toyota lost it, and this is probably the event you could say this is where it all fell apart for Toyota.
Yeah, I think at the end of the year, if things don't turn around, I think this will be the event that we'll look back and say this is where it started to go wrong. But even with Ogier giving Neuville the digs on the Friday evening, it didn't before you'd have seen maybe Neuville reacting to that. He didn't just get on with his job. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he had no comment to make, and he kept that line the whole weekend. He actually proved his point or got his give his feedback on the stages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then from a local point of view, Josh McMillan then 9th overall at the finish. Another very accomplished drive. His first time in Greece as well.
That was it, that's the thing to remember. Yeah, like, he hasn't competed in Greece. He wasn't there last year in the Hyundai, and he's still settling into the Skoda. It's only, Portugal that he started his campaign this year. So the car is still relatively new and putting up some cracking times. And at the same time, trying to keep out of trouble, trying to keep out of mischief. We saw how many other major competitors were taken out by the rough stages in Greece. And Josh, such a solid drive from him and Fuzzy. Like, it really was a fantastic result to come home 9th overall.
That's for sure. And then, as well as that, then too, Niall Burns and Alan Harriman were both out there co-driving. Unfortunately, Niall, they had to retire on, I think, the Saturday. but Alan Harriman come through and got a good finish at the finish up as well.
Yeah, I think Niall got as far as maybe stage 11, and then that was it. They were gone. But Alan, was, what do you call it, co-driving there, and finished 33rd overall, which again, solid result in what was a very, very tough event from from quite a few different perspectives.
That's for sure. Yeah. And then Aaron Johnson as well too. Like Takamoto set a blistering time Friday morning, and then unfortunately, clipped a wall. I think, wasn't it, or clipped a tree. I can't remember exactly what it was, but unfortunately that took the wheel out of the car. Then the Friday, and that was practically rally over. Yes, they come back and set some good times after that, but yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Very unfortunately, the speed was there. Taka wasn't far off, leading the rally, was certainly in a position to challenge for it. And again, as you say, ripped the wheel off, and that was kind of it. And it's just unfortunate for Aaron and Taka. And look, we want to see the pair of them bounce back soon when they're out again in Central European Rally.
That's for sure. That's for sure. But I think what you spoke to then was Jimmy McMillan, and that will roll in then to Luke Burry.
Jamie, WRC Acropolis, fantastic weekend for Hyundai, locked out the podium, like an amazing result, and possibly with the fighting talk from Toyota coming into the event, maybe, I don't know, I don't think you could have expected that result nearly.
No, for sure not. I think the last time, or the only time Hyundai have done it in the past, was in 2022. So, and I don't think many other teams have ever sort of had that kind of result. So, yeah, really, really positive. I mean, the way it went from start to finish, it was never guaranteed until obviously the very final stage when Seb made the mistake. So, we certainly weren't celebrating before the power stage, and it was a little bit up and down as well because we weren't without our own issues. We were constantly managing things over the weekend as well. So, the final result maybe looks like it was easy and we just sailed through to victory, but it was anything but. We were constantly fighting with small niggles here and there, and trying to keep the cars going until the finish. So, it was nice to see the result, and great for the team to extend the lead in the manufacturers as well. And both championships are looking quite good.
And you mentioned some of the issues, and all of the teams, all the Rally 1 teams had their own issues of varying types. Like, some of the feedback was that, in fact, the Acropolis was tougher or more challenging than the Safari Rally, which is normally the car breaker.
Yeah, no, we drove the stages before, as usual, and whenever we were driving through it, I shared the opinion of all the crews. Okay, I haven't done Acropolis Recce. I didn't do it last year, but I think I did it 2 years ago. So I was questioning my memory as to whether did I just forget how rough it was 2 years ago, or is it really this bad? But then as soon as we spoke to some of the drivers and the co-drivers, they were sharing the same opinion that it was definitely rougher than it has been in the past. And I wasn't around on the WRC circus back in 2013 or whenever the last Acropolis was, so I don't know quite how bad it was then, but certainly from the videos and stuff you see, I think this year's event was certainly closer to that style. And I think, maybe that was shown as well in the results, with only three cars really finishing, or three Rally 1 cars finishing ahead of some of the Rally 2 guys. And even with that, none of those three cars finished without an issue. I think the only car, at least that we didn't hear so many issues from, was Jordan Sertoritas, who managed to make it through relatively unscathed. But I think it was a different challenge, and it takes all sorts to put a World Rally Championship calendar together. So it's interesting to have something different. But I know the drivers are sort of pushing maybe for some of the aspects of this rally to be tweaked a little bit. Maybe not having the roughest stage of the event being the power stage was one example, because then it's a little bit of a lottery in terms of getting the extra points. But I think it's all something that we can go away and have a think about and see what's best. But it's interesting to have something different as well on the calendar.
When you have an event as tough as that, or as challenging, from the how difficult the roads are and the rocks and everything, what extra challenges from the engineering side does it create for the team?
I think it's, as much as anything, is about just slightly tweaking your priorities. So rather than trying to find ultimate performance, you try and make sure the car is as reliable as possible. And the number one factor is getting the car to the finish. And then you sort of take each day as it comes and let other things play out around you rather than trying to fine tune to the limit. So we can put extra protections on the car to certain suspension members, or we have thicker guards to protect the floor and the important parts of the car that could get damaged. And then we also carry some spare parts that we wouldn't normally carry on the high speed events. So the car wouldn't be as optimized as an event like Finland or Poland or Latvia, where you're really trying to find every single second here or there. And it's also clear, even with the tire choices, everybody more or less took 2 spares for the majority of the event. So it's clear that we're happy to make that trade-off for a little bit of protection and reliability, and hope that we can get round without any major reliability issues.
And speaking of that, again, we've just said how tough the event was, but the reliability of the I-20 seems to have improved greatly over the year. And considering how tough this event was, to have, finish the first 3, like, really does stand maybe to the work that's been done on the car.
Yeah. At least, from the outside, it looks like it was all rosy and nothing sort of happened. But we were also having our own sort of smaller issues. But yeah, no question, it's improved over the years, and that's credit to the guys working in the factory here, the designers and the engineers who've been constantly pushing and trying to develop things and get it going in a good direction. So okay, I can't take much credit for that, only joining in January, but it's clear that they've seen what's gone wrong in the past and highlighted the main reliability issues and really worked hard to try and get on top of them. But the other aspect is, we certainly can't take that for granted, because there's still areas that we need to keep working on. And it's very easy to sort of lose focus maybe if you are in this position, but we need to make sure that every small issue that we had in Acropolis is followed up, and we try and make sure the car is as bulletproof as we possibly can.
And compared to the last few rallies, we seem to see an increase in sort of the hybrid issues across the teams. Is that a combination of the heat and the roughness, or is that something else all completely different?
Yeah, I think the majority for Acropolis would have been coming from what's called a shock error. So there's an accelerometer inside the hybrid unit. So it's a bit of a self-protection strategy. So if it sees an acceleration in a certain direction of over a certain value, so in like Z-axis it's 25G, or in X or Y it's 15, for a certain time, then it will register a shock error and will turn off. And in the past, we were able to go to Compact Dynamics, and normally they would reset these shock errors and we'll be able to use the unit again. But in events like Acropolis, it's more likely you're going to get these types of errors, because the car is often getting hit from the underfloor with big rocks or big stones, or also whenever you have a puncture, for example, one side of the car is sort of hanging a bit lower than the other, so it's a bit more prone to getting these big impacts. So I think all teams maybe struggle with that a little bit over the weekend. And now with the shock errors, we can't reset them as easily with Compact Dynamics, so quite often they need to go back to the supplier. So all teams, I think, are trying to balance and juggle that issue. And certainly some teams' design is maybe a bit more prone to issues than others. So you can make certain improvements to that, but then you're also a little bit, your hands are tied behind your back with homologation regulations, because some of the mounting points and stuff you can't just adjust without it being a joker or whatever. So it's all about prioritizing what work you want to do. But yeah, it's an aspect that I think we're going to keep on hearing about in the next few events and going into next year as well, because I think it's going to become a bit of a quantity issue for all teams and on how they're going to manage their units.
So kind of an interesting watch this space nearly. Yeah.
I mean, okay, the next few events on tarmac and in Chile being a bit smoother, you would like to think the shock errors are normally shouldn't be as big of a concern, but I think ultimately all teams are going to be managing what units they have available moving forward. So yeah, I think it's going to be a topic of conversation anyway.
And if the errors are kind of impact related, how come the likes of, say, Finland, where you have those large huge jumps, in fact, don't trigger the same sort of effect to the unit?
Yeah, I think the large jumps, the suspension at that point uses a lot of the travel to absorb the landing, so you actually land quite flat, generally speaking. So if your floor at any point does touch the ground, it's normally already been slowed quite a lot by the damping force. Whereas in Greece, it's a very different type of impact where you can be going into a rut or something, and you're really carrying a lot of speed. And if there's a rock just on in the middle of the road on the underfloor, and you take it on the guard, then it's a real shock impact rather than the wheels being there and the damper being there to absorb that impact.
Okay. And we're used now to seeing the pre-stage warm-up videos, from Dirtfish or from Rally TV, where we see the crews prepping the car, doing the final preps before the stage start. And one of the things is normally it's the co-driver that's adjusting the tire pressure before the start of each stage. And I'm sure as an engineer, you like everything regulated, fixed and sorted, and this I suppose is maybe prone to human error. But what is it around, how as a team or as an engineer and a crew do you decide upon what tire pressures for which stages? And also, does the tire pressures where we see the tire debeating or the punctures, does that contribute in part to those sometimes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's quite a big topic, to be honest. So generally speaking, okay, for a start, it's very different from gravel to tarmac as well. But normal procedure is even after the recce, we'll be going around the stages and we'll understand what the main areas of concern are. So if you've got a big risk of punctures, then normally you'll try and run the pressures a little bit higher. Generally speaking, that reduces the risk of a puncture. And then also, depending on what area of the stage is rougher or more dangerous, you can adapt your starting pressure if you know that you can build a bit of pressure before getting to a certain part that's maybe a bit more dangerous. And certainly in tarmac, I would say, regulate it a lot more. So, in both events, we have TPMS, so we know what the tire temperature is and what the pressure is. So we can also keep an eye on what the co-drivers are doing on the road section. When we get the data back, we can make sure they're dropping them to what we ask them to, and not just what they think is best. But each co-driver will also have a slightly different approach, and driver as well. So they know the stages probably better than us as well. So and they know what they're working with. They're also most of the guys now in our team anyway are very experienced in terms of they know where the priorities are and what needs to be done. But there's various factors. I mean, the length of stage and the temperature and puncture risk are all aspects that we need to consider. And we'll also have a meeting with Pirelli normally before the event, and we'll go through and highlight certain stages which we think are more or less dangerous, and then understand whether we can go a little bit lower on some stages than others. So normally speaking, Pirelli would give you a target window that they want you to finish the stage in for optimum performance. And then we also have our own analysis and our own studies and our own experience, in terms of what we think is the best for different conditions and different surfaces. So it's a little bit of a combination of that, learning from our experience and our numbers, also listening to what Pirelli recommend. And then, every day we'll give the co-drivers a target pressure for the start of each stage. And then, we keep an eye on the pressures as they go through the stage as well. We get the data back and we can understand whether we need to adapt it through a loop as well.
Okay. And coming into or prior to the Acropolis, Finland and Estonia, Oit had two fairly huge accidents, which, a lot for Oit to come back from, but also from the team's perspective, I'm sure it was a lot of extra work for you guys to re-prepare and obviously rebuild the cars, etc. But from a process point of view, is there a procedure the team goes through to identify, okay, well, what was behind that issue or that accident? Why did that happen? How do you kind of, I don't mean fault find, but, kind of identify what was behind the issue?
Yeah, it's a process that we always have to go through sort of for every crash. Okay, some are, really straightforward. If we know the guy or the driver was just carrying too much speed, then, you can just overlay some data from another car and highlight the areas that, you think, okay, you were carrying 10 kph more, or you applied the brake 50 meters later, and then clearly, no matter what the car was doing, you weren't going to be able to make the corner. So normally at this level, we don't have so many of those. They're normally a little bit more complicated than that. But yeah, certainly in the under other categories or Rally 2 cars or whatever, more inexperienced drivers, it can be a bit easier to spot things like that. But I think the 2 crashes were, at least they were different, because the one in Estonia, we were using the test car, so there's a few extra sensors on there, so we could do a little bit more data diving and understand a bit better what was going on. So there's a lot more data channels available to the engineers there. Like damper potentiometers, for example, is an easy one that we, in the 2017 era of cars, we were allowed them on the events, but then they were banned for the hybrid era. So, which was a bit disappointing, but they're expensive, and it's a nice tool for the engineers to look at during the stages. But okay, we don't have that anymore. So we could check the damper potentiometers, and then we also had some extra accelerometers on there, so you can have some chassis accelerometers or top mount or upright. It's all up to the testing program in terms of what we want to put on the car at certain times. So that allows us to do a little bit more analysis in terms of exactly what happened, and was the damper using full stroke, was there an issue beforehand, all these sorts of things we can more or less normally, let's say, we can tell from the data. And then it's just a matter of getting the video and the onboard from the car as well, and then we can align it up with the data, and then we'll talk through. First of all, we'll do our own analysis offline, and then we'll also bring the driver in and sort of talk through it and get his feedback as well and his opinion, and try and understand a little bit what his thoughts were whenever certain things happen, because it's easy for us to sort of say, we see this, but we don't know what he was feeling at that point, or what he was reacting to, or these sorts of things. So we have to spend some time, and nobody wants to see these sorts of accidents. So anything we can do to make sure we haven't missed anything, and make sure we really try and target it, and also give Aoife peace of mind that we're doing everything we can to properly analyze analyze both of the crashes, and sort of show him what happened, and get his feedback, and make sure we're fully aligned, and there's no sort of question marks from either side. Because you don't sort of want any disputes in this situation. You want to make sure you're fully aligned with exactly what happened, and how we can prevent it happening again.
And we're 3 days after Greece. Is it forgotten about now and all focus on Chile?
Honestly, even straight away, it was almost forgotten about. We finished, for Aoife, for a start, obviously the 2 punctures, so it was still a little bit of a disappointment, let's say. Okay, 1, 2, 3 was amazing for the team, but ultimately Aoife was hoping to, and I think, had more than enough pace to win the event, and then, we could have at least had a little bit more of a gap in front of Seb in 3rd position there, and also been a little bit closer to Thierry out in front. So that was one aspect. And then even before the podium, we got the notification that both Thierry and Aoife's car were going to post-event scrutineering, so we were straight into worrying about that. And then by the time we got to the hotel, we had a team dinner, but to be honest, the night before, the cars got back at, I think, almost midnight, so we were checking data. We probably weren't in bed until 1 a.m. and the next morning we were up again. I think, I don't know, my alarm clock went off at 4:30, so we had about 3.5 or 4 hours sleep, and then it's a long day. So nobody was really in the partying mood, at least from the engineering side. So and then, as you say, basically straight back into it. So the cars arrived this morning back in the workshop. So Monday we traveled back, and then all day yesterday we're sort of in meetings, doing debriefs with the drivers, and also preparing the build specs for Chile, and trying to get the setup defined for that. So honestly, there hasn't really been any time to really enjoy or take in the victory or the 1, 2, 3 result. But hopefully it'll be worth it at the end of the season if we do get the manufacturers, and then maybe we can have a bit of a longer celebration.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. And looking to next year, has that work started at any sort of plans for further development, or is that on hold till you get, I suppose the focus being on let's get the next 3 rounds out of the way and secure the manufacturers?
Yeah, at least from my side, being based on the rally engineering side, and not doing so much testing, then I'm fully focused on first of all Chile, and then already starting to have a little thought towards Central Europe and getting back into the rhythm of tarmac events. So there's certainly a large part of the team that's purely focused on this year. But working parallel to that is the development on the Evo car and the Joker options that we're bringing forward for 2025. So no, that's also a really busy program at the minute, and some of the guys are working flat out and getting the designs finished for that. And the car's also done a bit of a rollout and some testing already for the sort of Evo spec car, let's call it. And so everybody's being kept very busy in the office, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the coming months. And there won't be much time off before Monte Carlo swings around.
Look, WRC Greece, what do I say? Like a drama-filled event.
Far too much drama to keep up with. Yeah. It's hard to think about a way to kind of summarize it, because I mean, it is a bad start to a podcast. There are little words I'm able to give you, but it was crazy. It was every little twist and turn. For me, it was kind of what makes rallying so great. Was obviously the stages gave us plenty of excitement. The nature of them this year, particularly difficult. I think it was a lack of basically any rain in the lead up to the rally made the roads a lot rougher and rockier than maybe in previous years, which added its challenge. But I think it was all the spice and politics and wind-ups, I guess, away from them. It made this one really quite classic. And then it had an obvious twist in the championship race. So probably quite a pivotal rally, I'd say, in the formation of this year's season.
But that's it. Like, we're getting close to the end of the season, but I genuinely can't think of a rally where I've seen so much drama and excitement from literally beginning to actual end. And as you say, probably some very pivotal things happened this weekend, that are really going to dictate the outcome of the championship.
Yeah, there is probably normally a point in each WRC rally where things get, I don't want to say stale, but predictable, perhaps, and everything's kind of settled. And then this year we've got the Sunday thing, which changes. So normally, to be fair, it's a Saturday afternoon that tends to get a bit quieter. And that was broadly the case. If there was any point of this rally that was quieter, it was Saturday afternoon. But you're right, it was just, there was constantly things going on. Loads of punctures, which you'd expect, given how difficult the roads were. Mechanical issues around the turbo for Toyotas as well. Drivers making mistakes and going out. I'm thinking Taka had one, Fomo had one Friday morning. So there was always something, I think, to keep an eye on, and all held in rather, I say difficult. This is a very personal experience to me because I was there, but rather difficult weather in that it was very, very hot. But I am possibly just saying that as a Scotsman who's used to like 10 degrees rather than 30. So I don't know if the drivers struggled as much, but it was certainly tough going.
Well, like, in fairness with the heat, I suppose the person that showed how much of a struggle it was probably Adrian Fourmeau on Saturday, where obviously the Puma was overheating, but my God, like that man at the tire change, he was struggling to cool himself down.
Yeah, it was quite worrying actually to see that, because we were there waiting to, as most of the media were waiting to speak to him, and he turned up and obviously they're all warm, they get their cool packs, they get their umbrella, they get a bottle of water, but it was a genuine like panic, I guess, to get Adrian something, and his face was just so red. But it was the pedal box in the car that was just too hot. So obviously that's where his feet are making contact. And if you think about, I guess, the way the human body works, and this is not, I'm quoting him here, he used to be studying medicine, so I trust Adrian on this. If something's hot on your feet, it'll make your whole body hot. And the same if you've got cold feet, it makes your whole body cold. It's a very obvious contact patch. So he was just struggling, and he even had the rear window out on the road section to try and make the car a bit cooler. But really not a nice sensation. You got to bear in mind, I'm sitting here complaining about it. I was outside and I wasn't wearing many layers. These guys are wearing all their fireproofs. They're driving a car. They're sweating. They're having to concentrate. It was quite a performance from all of them. But you're right. I think Adrian, he was struggling, and I was impressed that he actually managed to get through the event. There was a school of thought that maybe he should have just retired at that point because he wasn't actually fighting for anything. But he's a warrior. He battles on with everything, and he proved that by getting through. So fair play to him.
Yeah, and it's tough. And like we know from the previous discussions around the heat that's generated within the Rally Ones with the exhaust running through the car, like they are hot at the best of times. Never mind an event like this, as you say, where it was 40 odd degrees. It was crazy hot.
Far too hot. But again, that's me speaking personally. But you're right. It's a point that I think it was maybe this event. Was it Sardinia? I think it was Sardinia a couple of years ago where we had this issue really crop up about temperatures, and we saw the teams then develop solutions around that. So most of them would use a gold or a silver roof. I guess Toyota's been quite brave this year with its black car. I think Elvin made a cheeky comment about that with the car being the wrong color for the heat and everything. But other than that, everything was okay. But yeah, for any of us that don't do it, which is I imagine a fair amount of everyone listening as well, certainly at this level at Rally 1, you can't really imagine what it's like because I guess it can only be akin to like sitting in an oven or something. Do you know what I mean? It is just sweltering. So yeah, I definitely think that's a side of maybe modern day rallying that doesn't get appreciated as much or so much is just how fit these guys are because yeah, it's enough to go through the challenge, and particularly on Saturday it was like I can't think maybe 14, 15-hour day in the car. It was a long day. So yeah, to keep your concentration up and add that to the temperatures, yeah, it's some going.
And like there was drama every single day, the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday, and you were in the thick of it. You were there for either the pre-stage, parts where the crews were getting ready before they set off, or you were there at the roadside where maybe repairs were being conducted in a hurry with the under pressure. Like, what was that like? What was the drama like?
Do you know, I think it's a privilege to be in my position where you get to have this access to all these guys. But in fairness, everything you described, that's something anyone can do in a rally. And that's what makes rallying so amazing to me is, again, ahead of the stage, something that Dirtfish has done now for a number of years is what they call the start interviews. So on the run up to the first stage of the day, on just a few Ks from the start of the stage on the road section, the drivers will all stop and get themselves prepared and prepare the car and the settings and the tire pressure and everything else. And it is just like, it's normally in a really sort of random remote place, as rallying tends to be with its stages. And seeing $1 million Rally 1 car in amongst this just random serene part of any kind of country across the world, it's an ultimate juxtaposition. And these guys are all just hanging out quite casually, and it's amazing how quiet and so it all is until they all, obviously in a few minutes, engage rage mode and fire into stages at full pelt. So yeah, that's always really special to see. In terms of the repairs, and I know I'm taking many attempts at this question, but I'll get to the point, don't worry. In terms of watching the repairs, I always think that's equally special because these guys they're not just drivers. They're ultimately have to be brilliant mechanics because that's what saves you in rallies. It keeps you in the event. One of the ones I remember particularly from the weekend was watching Elvin fix his, I guess, what was it? It was after his accident, wasn't it? He rolled it on Saturday and he was having to make repairs to the car. And just watching him and co-driver Scott Martin, you can hear him speaking to the team, and that was the best. You can hear what he's saying to the team as well. So that's always interesting. But there was a point Elvis switched on and he said to Scott, take Rudy, who's the engineer, off loudspeaker so that we can hear what's being said. So yeah, it's quite exciting to witness that. But yeah, as you say, the drama was everywhere. I think if I'm going to pick a highlight of all that, the Ogier comments about Neuville and, shall we say, his inability to drive from first on the road, that was fun on Friday. And the best thing about that was, I think it might have been WRC TV he told first, but I don't know if he planned that line on the way back to Media Zone or if he just said it as WRC and then planned to replicate it. But I heard him say it and I've seen it printed. He basically gave every single journalist the same quote, almost word for word. This was an absolutely premeditated idea from Ogier, and it was great. I don't think he fully meant it. I don't think he fully believes what he was saying, but it was all done to try and wind up Neuville after, because Ogier was leading the day and then went backwards with his turbo problem. So I guess that was his attempt to try and unsettle his rival and get back ahead. It didn't quite work in the end. I think as he acknowledged in his social media post after the rally, he said maybe karma got him in the end because he crashed in the power stage and Neuville ironically won the rally from first on the road. So yeah, but it certainly added a lot more fun to the event. And all the drivers were well aware of what was going on as well. None of them would really talk about it, but they all, it's like that whole elephant in the room scenario where they all knew what was going on and just wouldn't necessarily talk about it. But yeah, it was certainly interesting.
Oh, that's it. It was typical Ogier mind games. And, fair play to Neuville. He didn't rise to the bait whatsoever. He just shrugged it off.
I'm impressed at that. And I genuinely think that pretty much points to the improvement he's made as a driver. Because if you think about when Ogier and Neuville used to fight for championships, and I know they're fighting for one now, but it's weird circumstances that Ogier's essentially accidentally found himself in the fight. But this would be like 5 or 6 years ago, and maybe slightly less in some occasions. But at that point, Thierry's obviously a lot less developed as a driver, maybe mentally. Ogier's massively in the ascendancy. He's this multiple world champion. He keeps winning year upon year. Back then, this sort of comment, I don't know if it would have necessarily forced Thierry to a mistake, but I think it would have rattled him a lot more than it did at the weekend. Neuville is clever. He's switched on. He's politically minded like Ogier. The two of them know how to work the media. So I've no doubt that Thierry saw this and probably wasn't necessarily a fan of it, but it didn't seem to affect anything in terms of how he approached it. Whether it actually did or not, we can't confidently say. But he never took the opportunity to respond. We all tried on Saturday to get an answer out of him, but it was always either no comment or I have nothing to say or anything like that. But yeah, I think he was definitely, well, not secretly, I think he was just quite pleased about how it worked out in the end. As I say, you can psychoanalyze all this kind of stuff. But on Sunday, after the sort of Paris agent unfolded, where Ogier had obviously rolled it and Thierry had won the rally, I think Ogier turned up in media zone just before Neuville. There wasn't a big gap between them. He's got out the car. Suddenly, obviously, all the press go to swarm towards him. They're seeing the damage and everything. Seb's just looking a little bit, I don't know, like resigned to his fate. He kind of knows, obviously, it's not gone well. And then Thierry rolls in. And it was honestly like he was back at the stop line, jumped out of the car, and there's this massive shriek of joy. And everyone just turns around. He's on the car, he's fist pumping and everything. And it's like, that isn't normal for arriving back at a media zone. That was a lot of celebrating. And Ogier was just ahead of him. So to me, that was his response. Yeah. That was him saying, reminding him, look what I've just done. But it was great to witness. It really was. But yeah, these dynamics are what makes sport so enthralling for me. And rallying in particular, it's maybe not so common in rallying to have great rivalries because there's a lot of respect between drivers. And there genuinely is respect between Ogier and Neuville. I don't think they're best buddies, but I don't think they're genuine. Like, there's no hatred there or no bitterness. I don't think this was essentially all, as you said before, mind games from Ogier to try and destabilize Neuville. But Neuville sold it all up and did the job.
And like, it was a key weekend probably for Toyota, and things just went horribly wrong from day one.
Yeah, really bad weekend, to be honest. If I've done my maths right, I don't know if maths is the right phrase, but I think this is the first time since Toyota's come back to the WRC, which was 2017, that it's failed to have a car finish in the top 10. So that, in fairness, points to how good it's been in the past, but also how this event just didn't go its way. And it's particularly, I guess, galling because Finland obviously was a very difficult rally as well. It was shaping up to be brilliant, but it never quite worked out with the accidents in the final day. This time, those mechanical problems are just quite rare for Toyota, actually. Taka, obviously, I'm not sure what he hit, but he lost the wheel on the rear of the car anyway on Friday. Elvin's weekend was just disastrous from start to finish. Not a lot of it his fault, and then Ogier obviously running around. So yeah, it didn't work out. Hyundai cashed in with a 1-2-3. So it was quite an emphatic statement, I think, of where these titles are heading. I would be surprised now if Neuville and Hyundai don't win both. I think if there's going to be any chance of an upset, I think it will be manufacturers because there's just more variables there. But with a 34-point lead, the way points are scored now, Thierry's looking very good, I have to say, and he deserves it completely.
Yeah, and I suppose he doesn't have to go out and win Chile either. Like, a good solid result there will and just bank the points.
It will, and I'm interested to see how he actually then deals with that, I guess, different dynamic, because they always say this in motorsport, it's actually harder to maintain than it is to attack because you fall out of that obvious and usual rhythm. So he can't afford to sort of be too careful because then either he's going to be nowhere in the results or he's going to start allowing himself to be susceptible to errors. But he can't go 11-10s because then he's jeopardizing this lead he's built up. As much as it's a strong lead, if someone claims, well, say Tanak, who's 34 behind, he claims the full 30 and Chile and Neuville scores none, suddenly it's only 4 points again. The whole thing's back on its head. So, yeah, he's got a lot to think about. So I am quite curious to see how he therefore approaches the next few rallies, and whether he chooses to try and back off or just keep doing what he's doing. Because Sardinia aside, where he had a sort of lapse in concentration, he's been fairly flawless so far. So you'll back him. So they all do. He'll definitely back himself not to do anything silly and get us across the line.
And what do you call it? We're always looking for characters. We're always looking for, personalities. But OJ's fine. Like, in fairness, like after stage one, and it was on safety grounds, he was making the point about the hanging dust and going from 3 minutes to 4 minutes gaps. But very harsh, 30 grand suspended penalty. Like that's, it's not going to encourage anyone to voice an opinion now of our crews.
No, I've got to be careful what I say here, I think. But I think there's very few people that agree with it. It's very strong. I guess it feels like he's been trying to make an example of potentially, because I think even the Stewards document says this, in that he's an 8-time world champion, his voice carries weight and stuff. So I get essentially trying to deter this kind of behavior. But you're right. The risk then is that drivers then feel they can't speak their mind or say anything at these stage ends because they might leave themselves open to trouble. I don't know the full situation in terms of what was asked and what wasn't. There's a suggestion that maybe, as OJ said, the drivers had requested 4-minute gaps and didn't get it. And obviously they did from that stage onwards. And that's the root of the problem. But this is the thing with a stage end, it's raw emotion. So, and that's what's great about it. It's what makes these classic moments. So the comments are maybe slightly more heated than they might be. It's like if you compared what you said to someone in an argument compared to what you say to them an hour later, you've had time to think about it, your words are different. And yeah, I don't think he said anything too untoward. So I was surprised. I wasn't necessarily surprised to see there was maybe a sort of discussion about it, but the penalty does seem quite high. So yeah, we'll see what happens after this, if there's any sort of rumble on from it. But yeah, clearly a bit of I guess it's like I can't think of the right phrasing. It was like the reverse of a cherry on top of the cake for Ogier. It's already been a fairly difficult weekend, and that just is sort of putting the nail in the coffin, isn't it, for one to forget for the 8-time champ.
Yeah, and like, as you mentioned earlier, his own reference to karma coming back and biting, like he certainly did get a heavy dose of karma, when you add everything up.
Yeah, but as I say, I think the whole thing was just entertainment, fundamentally. Yeah. I think it's just important that we don't go thinking that it's some kind of massive grudge match, everything. Like, OJ knew what he was doing, 100%. This wasn't like some accidental thing, but it's not born out of anything nasty. It was all just good tactical play, I guess. And yeah, it made what was already an interesting event just that bit more exciting. So yeah, I'm really glad you got to see it.
And then closer to home, Josh Mackarel, like, from your perspective, how do you think he's settled into the Skoda? And, again, the result in Greece, he hadn't been there before, fairly strong result for him.
Yeah, it's been a really good season, hasn't it, so far? I think Portugal feels like ages ago now. And it wasn't, to be fair, but it's been quite a packed, condensed schedule for him since it all began. But yeah, that performance obviously was the Kickstarter, and he'd been knocking on the door of it, I think, of late. But then the change of car, I think, has made a difference. I think we're all fairly aware that the Hyundai isn't the most competitive Rally 2 package at the minute, so getting your hands on a Skoda was a great way to see where he was at. But I don't think so many expected him to be essentially... Well, he's doing better, I think, in the championship. Certainly one of his more experienced teammates. I'm not sure about Greensmith. I haven't checked the points, but he can't be far off if he is behind him. So that in itself is impressive company to be in. These are guys, all three of his Talksport teammates have Rally 1 experience. So to be in that conversation is a very good indication of how good he's been. You're right to point out the result in Greece. It maybe looks, in terms of pace, maybe less impressive than other things he's done this year. That doesn't mean it's not impressive, considering, as you say, the context that this was his first time there. So, yeah, really good season. It'll be interesting to see where it sort of leads him going forward. But I think he can be very happy with the speed, certainly. I guess the only thing he needs to work on now, and he did do in Greece, was just try and avoid the sort of silly little mistakes that can undo results. But as all drivers say, you'd much rather make these mistakes when you're competitive than do it when you're kind of nowhere. So yeah, I think he can be very pleased with what he's done so far. There's obviously still CER to come this year for him, isn't there? So the year's not done yet. But yeah, I think particularly with him, with what we're seeing from Will Crichton, I would say Irish rallying's future is in good hands.
Yeah, no, and again, Will's had a fairly strong campaign in the Fiesta as well this year, and when you look, he's still leading the BRC, with a so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on there as well.
Yeah, I agree. The BRC thing is going to be it's going to be a good battle, I think, at the Cambrian it's the end of next month. I know there was a bit of controversy about this gifted win through team orders and stuff, but I don't know, that to me is like a fairly straight decision. Why, if you're input, why wouldn't you do that, given the circumstances? And I don't think that should take away anything from what Will achieves either, because he's had the speed all year. We've seen that. So yeah, no, it's good. As I say, I'd be curious to see if what's the phrase I'm looking for? If winning the championship, if he does win the British Championship, makes any difference to his confidence. I don't think it necessarily will. He's already a junior world champion, so he hasn't got too much to prove in that regard. But I think it'll be a nice sort of affirmation for him to see that he can fight all these guys that have been in these kind of cars for a lot longer. I guess it proves what he's doing in the WRC works, like how far it brings your pace on. So that'll be the nice thing for him to benchmark. And I guess he's championship title or not, he's already proved that. So yeah, great season for him as well.
And just come back to Josh briefly. Josh heads off to the States now, and a great opportunity to get a bit of experience, considering the States is going to be joining the WRC in 25. So it's an opportunity for Josh to get a bit of road mileage out there, as well as show how competitive he is.
Yeah, it's a good event to pick in that regard, isn't it? With the potential that we could be going there in WRC, but I believe it's all quite sort of, it's a bit to get Owen Tracy the championship, isn't it? Essentially, Josh's effort. So that'll be nice to see those two pair up against each other. John Coyne is quite keen to see how quick the car can go against the Subarus and stuff. So that'll be interesting. And it's obviously a brand new rally for everyone over there as well. So machinery wise, I still think the Subarus will be quicker than a Rally 2 car. I know there's a bit of debate around that, but I still think they will. But in terms of actually knowing the rally, Josh goes there with no disadvantage compared to Travis Pastrana or Brandon Seminick or anybody like that. So yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see where top WRC2 pace compares to, I guess, the factory Subaru team. But being on a level playing field, i.e. a brand new rally, should only help bring Josh a bit closer to them.
Yeah, it'll just be, I suppose, the adjustment of going back to the Hyundai as opposed to having settled into the Skoda for the last couple of months.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. But he's driven the car enough, hasn't he? He'll know all the old setups and stuff. He should be able to slot in. And I imagine he'll be getting a test as well. I don't know this for sure, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't. So yeah, and plenty of seat time last week in Greece, so he should be match fit. But yeah, it'll be curious to see how he gets on. And
what do you call it, just to, I suppose, to wrap up on Greece, like, we're always keen to see rallies rallying to the people. And, the super special that they had out at the service station was an example of that. Looked good from a TV perspective, but did it work in person?
So we were there for, I think, maybe the first couple of cars, and we took the decision to leave because you don't get caught in all the traffic. But I actually thought it was really quite good. From a sponsorship activation perspective, I headed to Greece not knowing what Eco was. I had no idea that it was a fuel company that had fuel stations. So I can't be the only one in that position. Now, I don't know what it's sort of, I've not looked this up. I don't know what its reach is in terms of, is it a company that exists beyond Greece? I don't know. So does it matter what somebody who's not Greek thinks? Again, I'm not entirely sure. But what better way to, I guess, promote what you're about than to hold a stage in your backyard, essentially? It's, I guess, it would be equivalent of the Ulster Rally having a stage at the Modern Tyres factory, wouldn't it? It's that same idea. That would be great. I know it's a bit sort of Mickey Mousey in style, as you say, but it's that same obvious shouting of what it's about. And the layout wasn't bad either. I was impressed at how many fans turned up. I think it was a very good atmosphere. For the drivers, I think it was quite frustrating because it was so far away from everything else. And after it started at 9 o'clock in the evening, they had to drive back to service, which after a very long day isn't ideal. So there's probably things to learn from that regard. But yeah, I think it was quite a sort of left field idea, which has potential. So yeah, I think it was quite fun to see it.
And then, as the WRC moves to Chile for the next round at the end of the month, we've breaking news from Toyota.
Yeah. Takamoto Katsuta has been replaced by Sami Piari for this event. Sami will also get to drive the car at CER. So he's got another 2 auditions, whereas Katsuta will return for CER and Japan. And it's always a tough one with this for any driver to be benched for an event, but I honestly think it could actually be what Katsuta needs, because he's not been in a great run of form. I think that's obvious. I think we can all see the potential he has, but he's just, for whatever reason, not quite been able to string it together. But by taking just a step back, time to assess where everything is, it could go both ways, couldn't it? You could argue it's maybe negative, and if that gets in your head that, oh, is the team not believing in me or such and such, then perhaps that it can have a negative effect on the mentality. But really, it could be just a spur to like really sit back and reflect on where he's at and give him, not that he's lacking any hunger, but just a bit more drive and inspiration to like, right, let's go and do things a bit differently. Just a chance to take a break and refresh your mind. Without getting a bit too personal, I've had that kind of experience recently in my own career, where when you take a step back from stuff, you kind of you grow more appreciation of what you have and maybe what was different and what matters and everything else. So this gives him that chance to do that. I guess the only threat he's got is Sammy's looking like a very, very promising driver for the future. So is this almost like Sammy's auditioning for Taka's drive? I don't think he is per se, but this is the thing. That's I guess the threat he has. But in a way, as I said, it's not something we want to see, but I do quite like these kind of shake-ups mid-season. It's just good things for us to all watch and talk about. So from that side, it's quite interesting. But I am sorry for Taka that it's happened. I think we're all Takamoto Katsuta fans. He's such a likable character. So you just know he'll be taking this hard, but he has to keep his chin up and just use the opportunity he's got in front of him. He's still got 2 rallies to end the year, one of those, of course, being his home event in Japan. So I'm sure he'll be rested and very competitive when he heads there.
Huge thank you to Luke and Jamie for taking the time out there to bring us up to speed with everything that went on from their side in WRC Greece. And, staying with the theme of WRC, Aoife Raftery has some news for us, where she's entering into the Women's Drivers Development Program initiative that's being run, where 15 contenders will be fighting it out for a chance to be supported in the WRC campaign next year. Aoife, lovely to catch up with you again. It's been a little while since we last chatted, and you're one incredibly busy lady. You have lots going on.
Hi, Connor. Yeah, it's fantastic to be back on the show. So thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been quite busy, but we're happy that it's busy as it has been. Lots
Yeah,
happening.
you've had a couple of almost back-to-back events. So you had class win in the Tarmac Championship on the Ulster Rally.
Yeah, that was great. It was really nice to be back home again. We haven't done a rally in a while here, so to come back, do the Ulster Rally and get the class win was really positive for us, and we really enjoyed the event. And then that was ultimately to prepare us for going to Wales for the European Rally, Rally Bay Ceredigion. So it was great to get preparation, to get some seat time on the tarmac here again before we headed over there.
Yeah, and again, I suppose in helping you to prepare, possibly unintentionally, like the conditions were tricky in the Ulster with changeable weather and changeable asphalt and stuff, and I suppose similar-ish slippy conditions were experienced in Ceredigion then when the rain came.
Yeah, when the rain came, it definitely changed the characteristics of the road. To have the European guys there as well, there was some very big cuts being taken. Compared to last year as well, especially I know most of the stages were different, but the style of roads were quite similar. But to see the size of the cuts they were taking in comparison was a big difference. But that just made the road a bit more muckier and dirtier. But that was, it was okay because you could see the lines in the recce, so you knew that's what you were heading into the rally. But when it rained, I think it caused a lot of trouble, and you could see there was a few accidents that happened. But it was just a very shiny surface, and when the rain came, that just you had to kind of pull back a bit because it was just so the grip on that shiny tire was just so little.
And again, on both days, on both the Saturday and the Sunday, a lot of big names were caught out on both days. So, I'm sure that makes you extra cautious or extra wary when you're on the stages yourself.
Yeah, it does. Look, Saturday was a decent day in terms of the weather and the roads. Sunday in the morning loop, we unfortunately didn't get any of the stages, just with the cancelled stages, and then in the afternoon we got the two. And we have the rally TV for watching the all live there, so we know where people are having moments and if there's any accidents, which kind of allows us then to make a note in our own pace notes to maybe watch that corner. I think there was certain corners that caught out a couple of people, and there are ones in that you need to watch out for when it's your turn to go on the stage. But ultimately, we were quite happy with our pace on the Sunday afternoon loop. It improved a lot from Saturday. So on Saturday morning, we just struggled a bit with getting a good feeling in the car. So we tried making adjustments while we were out on the stages, but it wasn't really significant enough. So when we went in, we ended up doing some changes with the car, and it gave us a lot more confidence in the car. And we had a better afternoon loop on the Saturday, and then going into Sunday, then we were able to carry that forward and have a good Sunday run.
And with the combination of being both around in the BRC and the ERC, great opportunity for you to benchmark yourself against both, talents from both programs.
Yeah, it was. It was really interesting to be able to do that, and a good opportunity to see where we're at. So yeah, I think if we can take away where we were at on Sunday would be good boost, good confidence, and realizing where our pace is, especially off the Irish and the UK guys. The Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy had a fantastic amount of crews over there. Especially in the Rally 4 category, it was quite a high entry from the Rally Academy. So yeah, to be able to race against the guys and see where we're at is very good, and we were happy then where we finished on the Sunday against them.
Yeah, I think I heard a figure, was it something like 25% of the international section was Irish competitors or Irish license holders. Like, it's absolutely incredible. It must have been great to have that level of support around you as well.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think you're right with the figures there from Motorsport Ireland. So that is quite impressive to see that percentage at such a big event like that. And yeah, it was great to have all we don't normally have that much kind of home support, I suppose, on events. So it was fantastic to have that kind of community of us out there. Yeah, no, it was just really good to see the strong results as well that John and William had, and their end of event was pretty cool. So it definitely helped having more academy crews there as well.
And speaking of the academy, what sort of work are you doing with them at the moment? And I suppose it'll lead on to where we're going to go to next, which is you've been selected to take part in the Beyond Rally Women Drivers Development Initiative. So what work have you been doing to prep yourself for that? And I suppose what's involved in that?
Yeah, we're delighted to be selected for that. It's a fantastic opportunity. The World Rally Championship have this women's development program, Beyond Rally. Essentially, it's just to try and get more females at the high end of the sport competing. So as part of that, we'll be going to Poland Sunday week, where we'll be tested on driving ability, mechanical, fitness, media, pace notes, so all the aspects that make up rallying. There's been 15 female drivers selected from around the world, and will be put up against each other, really. And then out of that, they're going to select 3 that go forward to the Central European Rally to compete in a Fiesta Rally 3. And then out of that, they ultimately select 1 person then for a funded Junior World Rally Championship drive in 2025. So we've got the first step of the way there. Really happy that we've been selected as that. Working with the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy has kind of given us a good step going into this. These are all aspects that we've been working on in the academy in the last couple of years. So it's nice to feel prepared and kind of already have a lot of the homework done with the academy in terms of preparation. They always help us with the different aspects of the fitness and the pace notes, driving, media. So to have that support team behind me and just makes it easier going into this, and hopefully we can show what we've learned with the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy in the last couple of years and bring it with us into Poland.
And like, we're always excited to see such opportunities coming around to create more opportunities for women to enter the sport. So it must be great that this program has come up, especially at the stage you're at in your career.
Yeah, it's a fantastic program, and the timing of it has been, quite worked out quite well. I think it is an important time to promote women in motorsport, and I think it's a good time as well because there is more spotlight on it. Yeah, essentially that if we can promote and show female participation, that ultimately will get more and more girls involved from in competing and rallying, and ultimately see that percentage raise of female competitors, and
And
show that they can make it to the higher levels in the sport.
yeah, well, no, which is great, and we applaud all these initiatives, and it's also great too that it's as broad or as wide a net that they're actually bringing in 15 competitors. That it's not a very narrow, maybe to start with 5 or that. That there is a wider opportunity, and even for those who don't get selected, they're getting an opportunity to get, I suppose, further developed in the sport.
Yeah, 100%. No matter what, we're definitely all going to learn something when we go to Poland. That's a fact. There'll only be 3 that get selected to go forward from that, and then one which is, there's only one person in the world being chosen for this year, so it's a tough competition. But to each step of the way, there's definitely going to be like so many things that can be taken away from it and learned and brought into rallying in the future for sure, definitely.
And obviously, it's working with M Sport Poland as part of the 3-day assessment, and then the prize is the Central European Rally Drive and the R3 Fiesta. A change of car for you, one you're very barely familiar with.
Yeah, look, we're trying to do some homework on it and have an understanding of the car before we go, just so we know what to expect. Yeah, it would be really exciting though to get the opportunity to do a rally in a 4-wheel drive car like that. With some of the drivers in the academy have competed in the Junior World Rally Championship this year and the last couple of years, so there's always been a representative in the championship, which was fantastic to see. Yeah, and look, I'm just looking forward to trying something different. The Rally 4 cars are amazing for the what they are, and the class it's in is still very tough competition, but it'll definitely be exciting and interesting to see what the 4-wheel drive is all about.
And as you mentioned there, we've seen Eamon Kelly and John Armstrong and William Crichton competing in the R3 recently. Have you had a chance to pick their brains?
Yeah, I have. So look, that is one of the bonuses that I'm able to contact these guys and ask them questions and get a better understanding and a feeling for the whole thing. So yeah, it's great to have that team around me that I can shoot a question to any time, and they're great at coming back to me with the answers. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, like it certainly from being on the outside, it's one of the amazing things that when we hear the different stories about the academy, there is that community spirit amongst you guys, and you really do share and help and encourage each other.
Yeah, definitely. And it is really good to have that support network around. We're all just trying to help each other to get to the next step and get to the next level and keep improving. So to have that, to have the opportunity to be able to ask the guys questions on certain things, and they're always very helpful. It's fantastic to have the chance to be able to do that.
And for yourself, what do you call it? Last round of the ERC moves to Poland. Is that something you've started to prep for yet? Again, it's a tarmac round.
Yeah, it's a tarmac round. We're quite, the last 2 rallies now I've done has been tarmac, so it switched back from the gravel to tarmac, which has been nice because we've been able to build on our pace. Poland normally is running the gravel in the European Rally Championship, so it'll be switch over to tarmac, which will be new for everybody again, which will be interesting to see. It's always a bit more fun when it's a new round and new stages for everyone. Yeah, so look, we'll be preparing for that, but the main focus at the minute is the female driver program in Poland with M Sport and the WRC. So full focus is on that at the minute, and we're gonna just go over there and be as best prepared as we can and give it our best shot.
That's it. Eyes on the prize.
Eyes on the prize. That's it.
So thanks very much there, and best luck to Aoife this weekend. Yeah, we really hope it goes well for her. Also, last weekend was the Woodpecker Rally, the latest round of the British Historic Championship, and Seb Perez and Gary McMillan took the one. Great to see. beating Mark Higgins in the TR7. So yeah, all good there, and a very solid result then for Adrian Hillington and Ronan O'Neill and Owen McMackin as well. So and no doubt there'll be Hillington and McMackin will be in the Bushwhacker as well too, to add a wee bit of spice there too. So then this weekend coming up we have the Wexford Rally, and it has pulled together a cracking entry. They have, I think, probably 160 odd starters there too, so that's going to be some battle there. And, interesting, maybe it hasn't got all the international names on it, but there's a lot of real good, strong contenders there. It's going to be some battle down there, Connor, at the weekend.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a brilliant one. And as you say, a cracking entry list, considering it's not a round of any of the championships. It really, it's become a well-recognized standalone event as Wexford. Solid days of fantastic rallying.
Yeah, 9 stages each day. It's going to be a 2 hard, tough days of rallying, but then all those competitors are in for a real treat. Andy Hayes has been singing the praises of the event for so long now, and it is going to be hectic and brilliant now. And best luck now to all involved there at the weekend now. So yeah, so until next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.